So very good morning to one and all present here. I, Deepika Pathak, Assistant Professor, Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, welcome you all on the fifth day of AICT-sponsored online Atal Academy Faculty Development Program on Cancer Genomics in Healthcare System. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to Professor Sanjay Kumar Pal. Before sir to start the session, I would like to give a brief intro on professional profile of sir. Professor Sanjay Kumar Pal has a very dynamic professional with over 20 years of rich experience in teaching, training, mentoring, research and development, content editing, and general administration in India, Ethiopia, and Nigeria. Dr. Sanjay holds a degree of PhD from Indian Veterinary Research Institute and has done his postdoctoral studies from the Indian Institute of Toxicological Research and Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institution of Medical Sciences, Lucknow. Dr. Sanjay has over 75 research publications in international journal and over 95 research abstracts. His research work on alternative cancer treatment attracted the attention of the Office of Cancer Complementary and Alternative Medicine, National Cancer Institute, Bethesda, USA, and his research work on cancer was published in high-impact journals like Lancet Oncology. Dr. Sanjay has a core competency in genetics, molecular biology, biotechnology, proteomics, and alternative and naturopathic medicine, etc. Dr. Sanjay has over 4-year experience in the industry and good expertise in conducting clinical trials and has taken several initiatives like methodology planning for clinical trials, designing the experiments in relation to testing of drugs collected from herbal sources. Dr. Sanjay has work experience in various universities like Haramaya University, Ethiopia, RND Global University, Bikaner, City University, Ludhiana, SBS University, Dehradun, etc. He had received many scholarship and fellowship, including the prestigious Lady Tata Memorial Trust Fellowship. For the last many years, Dr. Sanjay is researching on various natural therapies useful in cancer treatment. His hobbies include reading, traveling, and astrology. Currently, Sir is associated with Skyline University, Kano, Nigeria. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your lovely intro.
Thank you so much.
And a very good morning to all who are listening to me. And let me just share my slides. Are you able to see my slides?
So it's not visible.
Not visible. What about now?
So it's not visible.
1 minute. Now, is it visible? Is it visible now?
Not, sir. It's not visible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
So
now it is visible.
Can I start my presentation now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You may start now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to speak a little bit about prevention potential of certain herbal preparation on oral cancer. So I just like to start with a very disturbing news that India is considered as a oral cancer capital of the world, which is a very disturbing thing for India. But a matter of fact, it is very much true that we are the oral cancer capital, because the number of cases that we have on oral cancer in India is too big. And this cancer, oral cancer, actually is a treatable cancer because you are able to see visual changes that is happening in your oral cavity. But in spite of that, because of lack of proper awareness and treatment facility, the patients that are coming to the clinics are too advanced to anybody, all the doctors to start some curative therapy. As a result, we have a big number of oral cancer patient every year. Now, as per certain, mm, bodies of cancer, the cancer statistics, which are of the new cases being diagnosed, is increasing every year. That is really a very wrong trend, but there is an increase of the oral cancer. And these are some statistics which are been published in 2014. And it is saying that you can see with your own things that how the rate has been increasing. And the most other important thing that one should be aware of, that 1 in 10 Indians to get cancer in lifetime. And partly because we are just uh, getting news from the New Delhi, the air pollution that you people are going through. Here in Nigeria, it is very, very green and clean because we don't have much stubble burning or factories. But in Delhi and Mumbai, this is a real big problem. And maybe that is one of the reasons of having that high rate of cancer in various mega cities or metro cities. And the most affected people are the people from the lower socioeconomic status. They have less awareness about cancer and less chances they will come to clinic in a proper time. So this socioeconomic inequalities has been a major cause of the disease burden in the country. Now, this is some statistics which I want to share, that new cases that are coming for cancer. For women, the breast cancer is the top of the list, then followed by oral cancer. But for men, it is oral and lung, followed by stomach and colorectal cancer. These are the statistics gathered from World Health Organization, World Cancer Report. So you can understand this is a really alarming thing. And even more than that, I'm sure that some of you who are listening to me might have some experience of some of your near and dear ones on your family might have got this unfortunate disease. The amount of money that we are spending on treatment is huge. Means I have some patients who have lost everything in order to get the treatment, because the treatment cost is exorbitantly high. And most of us don't have any insurance to cover up our treatment costs. So if you can see, our country is losing almost 23 or 24,000 crores per year just on treatment of for oral cancer. It is about 2,386 crores in 2020. So it's giving a rough estimate. So it is a huge kind of expenses that the patient has to bear from, mostly from their own pockets. So it's not a very good scenario. Many families are totally ruined because of this disease. And the most important thing, in spite of all your efforts that you put, you are not going to survive very long. So 50% oral cancer patient die within a year. This is a Tata Memorial study, and it is done in Calcutta. And they found that people who are having, in spite of all the best treatment we provide, we are unable to hold them for a long time. So this is a very wrong trend, but we can't do anything because the cancer is such a disease that it is all means it is inert. It doesn't give you any indication. But for oral cancer, it is different. But in spite of that, people generally ignore, and this ignorance cost their life. So the cost is rising. These are all news items that I recently got from the internet when I was preparing for this presentation. So you can see that everywhere in different parts of our country, people are doing the studies and finding out that the treatment cost is steadily rising, and everything has to be borne by the patient and their family members. Another very important cause of the oral cancer is the poor oral hygiene. In our country, what you can say, you will find this kind of situation everywhere. It's right from your drivers, your uh, helpers, or some other form. Even I have seen some teachers to do that. My uh, what you say, friends who were in college, they used to love chewing tobacco. That was a big menace in our time, and still this continue. It is they take tobacco or gutka now, which is the gutka is banned, cigarette smoking, alcohol, certain viruses, and above all, the biggest thing is your genes. If your genes are little bit away from the normal, you cannot fight this disease. Obviously, genes plays an important role because cancer is a genetic disease, something to do with upregulation, downregulations of genes. But these are all environmental factors that will precipitate the disease, and we can't help. This is our culture, and this is with us for millennia, so we can't help. In spite of all awareness programs, uh, things have not come under control. Now still, we will, from our side, we will keep on this awareness programs going so that people are aware of it. So this is a breakup of different type of cancer location, and risk of oral cancer associated with gutka and tobacco product, and a hospital-based case control study done by Mahapatra and co-workers. It shows that where is the actual location of the cancer. So it is all over the place where you have, but the buccal mucosa is the one which, and the lateral surface of the tongue, where you get it the most. So the big thing is, can this cancer be prevented? 50% of oral cancer can be prevented. And here, ignorance is not a bliss, definitely not. People are not knowing about it, and majority of cancer patients report to a clinic with advanced malignancy, where initiation of curative therapy is difficult. So that becomes very problematic. When they come to the clinic, At that time, they have already have metastatic disease. So even we focus on the primary location, it is very difficult for the patient to be getting completely cured. Recently, when it was found that tobacco is the main cause, there was a lot of warning sign. Even the gutka is now banned in India. But this gutka thing is easily available in the gray market, or you can make it. Actually, that is the biggest thing, that the tobacco and that betel nuts, they can be put together, and obviously you can see many of your friends and other things taking it. So in spite of all those warning signs, I think no doubt it have some effect, but nothing really much happened. As we see the statistics, it is not coming down, it is steadily going up. So no doubt it was a great initiative by the government to display this signs, but I'm sure even many of the students who are listening, they might be also taking this. I may say that not addiction, but occasionally they are taking this gutka, and cigarette smoking you can't stop, because that has become a signature of many young generation kids. So it is okay if you take little, but when it becomes a part of your life, then that is a real problem. So those who are listening to me, I will request them, please reconsider about this habit. So it is good that this kind of things we don't see very often now in the market. And this, you can see this tongue, this starts with leukoplakia, or this whiteness I have just started. So if you are careful enough from this stage, you can get it back, the normal tissue of this region. But if you are not taking adequate measures from this, the cancer will start developing. So yeah, although a great advancement have been made in treatment of some cancers, the new advances in surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, they have led to an increased rate of cure. But the price of conventional care is often out of reach of majority of cancer people living in the developing world. So the cost is a big factor, and obviously ignorance is another. So the both things combined together, and this is very difficult. And then India is becoming the capital of oral cancer. Now, coming to another aspect of treatment, which is called as a complementary and alternative medicine. These are offered to those patients where basically when the conventional medicine cannot do much. Because if a patient has come to a doctor where very advanced stage of the disease, it is not advisable to give the patient the conventional therapy, which are obviously costly and very having side effects. So the oncologists sometimes refer them to take certain alternative therapy, which will, it is basically to relax the patient. And there is a term called palliation, where we cannot cure the patient, but as long as he is alive, he can receive some therapy. So there is a list of this. This is very few. Many places there are many others alternative therapy, and my interest is in this herbal therapy. And how I came to that, I will basically, I'm a geneticist, and how I entered this field is what I'm going to discuss with you now. So my father-in-law happens to be the first Asian who have crossed the English Channel. He swam across from England to France, and that too in 1958. He was the first Asian to do so. And as you see over here, and he didn't do it for only one time, he did it for 6 times, for which he received the title King of Channel, because at that time he was the first person in the world to do so. And the Queen was so impressed. This is the Queen of England. She personally visited him and congratulated him for his achievements. And he was detected with cancer. It was a squamous cell carcinoma of the throat. And as usual, we started with his age was around 70. And we started with conventional chemotherapy, which had a very adverse reaction on him. And he was having effusion and all sorts of problem. And he also had an open heart surgery a few years ago. So the oncologist told it is not advisable for us to continue the chemotherapy. You can look for some alternative therapy. So basically, at that point of time, we had no idea, as I was always done my research work and other thing in a conventional institute. I didn't have any sort of what you say belief on any alternative therapy. But when we did not have any other option, so it was just an hit and try. So there was a homeopath. It was happening in Calcutta or Kolkata. So there was a homeopath nearby our home in Kolkata. We contacted him and he told that, see, and the thing is that I cannot cure or anything, but whatever medicine I have, it will give a good relief to your father-in-law. And I told, are you giving homeopathic medicine? Well, no, I'm not giving homeopathic medicine that you think, which is highly diluted, but these are mother tinctures, which is can be considered as a herbal medicine. And to our surprise, his herbal medicine really worked. For the next 6 months, his condition improved like anything. So he was doing very good. And after 6 months, we had to go for the review. So the doctors were surprised to see him doing so good. And again, the chemotherapy was started, which was very bad, wrong thing for Anna, because we had no idea that he could not take that chemotherapy, and we lost him. But my belief that certain herbal therapies can work started from there. So I was initially working in this Sanjay Gandhi for my postdoctoral research. So then I left because of some health issues. So I again tried to rejoin SGPGI MS in 2000. And my interest was to do something on cancer. So I wrote a project and got this Lady Tata Memorial Fellowship. And the project was to study the genetics of gallbladder cancer, because this is also another very big problem of North India. Young ladies around 30 to 40, they are having this gallbladder cancer, and we don't know why. And this is there are 2 pockets where this gallbladder cancer is so high. Even in South India, there is no gallbladder cancer, and it happens only in the ladies. So I got this project. I wanted to do some genetic studies to see. But the problem was I was not a clinician. I was a scientist. I can do genetic analysis in lab. But to collect the samples, I had no idea, because how many patients we can operate and get the samples. So the biggest problem was to get samples, because any patient coming to our clinic, they are stage 4 cancers, so we cannot operate on that. And the stage 1 cancer is only good operation, means the prognosis is good, and we get a sample. So within 1 year, I could get only 6-7 samples, which was out of my wanted to have 30 samples minimum. So because of lack of, and at that point of time, there was no bank to, means I'm talking about 2000. So there was no bank in our institute that have kept those samples. No doubt there was blocks, in paraffin blocks, but I tried to harvest the tissue and do the work, which did not uh, worked. So eventually, because I was not getting enough of the samples, I could not really finish that study. Then I was interested to do some real work on alternative therapy taken by the patients in North India. So I kept on trying getting this cleared from my own institute, because studying on alternative therapy in a conventional center is out of the question. So I was 3 times my project got rejected in SGPGIMS, but finally I got it. But obviously, I was doing the research from a long time ahead. So, so this is some of my experience that I want to share with you people. But the work that was published in Lancet Oncology was the work of this gentleman, Ashim Chatterjee, from whom we have got the therapy for my father-in-law. So I have worked with him for 2 years and he has shown me many patients who have been radically cured. Radically cured is a term used for patients who had cancer, which was proven histopathologically. He did not receive, or she did not receive, any conventional therapy. If he and she, the patient was entirely on a alternative therapy and got cured. Cured means the cancer was gone, and the patient is alive for the next 5 years without the cancer coming back. So this is the terminology used. So he showed many patients, many in the sense at least 10 to 15 patients where the cancer was entirely gone and it did not come back. With his herbal therapy, you can say those homeopathic medicines with mother tinctures. So his clinic was flooded with people, because many of the doctors who know about him, they referred. So I did this, an interview with all 200 patients, why they are coming. So I found that most the oncologists could not suggest anything. Financial was the next big important thing. Then some wanted to have the quality of life. They don't want to have this painful chemotherapy. Some got it from their friends. So this advertisement. His therapy was very good for pain management. And I was surprised if many patients who have to be, the pain is the main problem, could be managed with his medicines. Then was patient management and other things. There was faith, and some wanted to use it for the experimental thing. So I wrote about this in Lancet, providing them all the evidences and other things, and this paper was published. So this is the person, Dr. Ashim Chatterjee. He was the one who experimented on this mother tinctures, and this is a oral cancer patient who the disease regressed, and she was followed up for the next 5 years without anything. There's another very interesting case of lung cancer of Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute. This patient had lung cancer. She was a lady of about 75 years old. So after one cycle of chemotherapy, her condition deteriorated. As you can see in this, there was effusions and other things. So the therapy was stopped, and from that time onwards, this alternative therapy, which is called as Soranam therapy, started. And then, to the surprise of oncologist, the whole tumor was regressed. The tumor regressed completely. So at that point of time, it was believed that there would be some mistaken if the histopathology is positive. So the oncologist never believed that there could be some mistake in the histopathology, and it couldn't be cancer, because they have never seen a cancer, lung cancer, going down like this. So the therapy was stopped, thinking that may not be it is a cancer, maybe it is a uh, tuberculosis sort of thing. So as the therapy was stopped, after 3 months, again the cancer, the lung cancer came back, as it should be. So again, Dr. Chatterjee was called, and the patient was told to continue the therapy. And within another 1 year of therapy, the whole thing again got regressed. So there are many such patients actually who are getting radically cured. This was the patient which I have not seen. So when I went to his clinic for research work, I told I want to see it for myself. So this gentleman is the principal of our school. So he was a chronic smoker from our school days. We have seen him always on cigarette. So this gentleman, when he reported uh, to the clinic, he was already a very advanced stage of the lung cancer, and he did not want to take chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So he went around Calcutta looking for means where he can do the, because he's himself a teacher, so you can understand he was very, very fussy about taking therapy. So ultimately he came to Dr. Chatterjee and started taking the therapy. I was also there, so I was following him up. I have taken him to Tata Memorial Institute just to be ensuring that it is really a cancer. This is the pathology. You can see the clump of the cells. So I have talked with the oncologist and the pathologist of Tata Memorial. They confirmed it that yes, this is a very nasty cancer. And this gentleman not only got, and he was having secondaries in the liver. It is a metastatic disease. And within 2-3 years, he was taking the active medicine. The whole thing was cleared, and I followed him for next 10 years, and he was doing very fine, except that old age problem. He had suffered from stroke. That is because of high BP he was having. Maybe it could be some of the side effects of this herbal medicine. Maybe this is possible, because some other patients also who were surviving for long all had this stroke. So maybe there is a long-term side effects of this herbal medicines. But this was a clear-cut indication that the herbals they were giving worked on him. And this is a very few patients, patient that were treated by him survived for very long. So when I came to Sanjay Gandhi PGI, I wanted to do some kind of research work on this alternative therapies. But at that point of time, people had no idea how to support me, because in a conventional setup, nobody was going to listen to you, because at that point of time, alternative therapy was labeled as quackery. So because I have seen it works, so I wanted to take it a next level. But unfortunately, I was working on gallbladder cancer. So this is one of the patients that came to the clinic, and we actually, when the patient is very advanced and we can't do anything, so we have to write that, okay, take this medicine and report after 6 months. We know that nobody is going to come to us after 6 months, because this gallbladder cancer in the stage 4 gives only 1 or 2 months at the most. So many of the patients actually did come after 6 months and reported to our clinic. So it was really quite, how this patient survived. So I used to talk to them and ask them, I definitely am sure that you are taking something. So many of them has admitted, yes, we are on a herbal therapy. I'm like, what is that? So they told, there is in Lucknow, there is a lady who is Ayurvedic doctor, and she's treating many cancer patients. And they showed me this newspaper cutting, which says that this Lucknow doctor provides hope for cancer patient. And I was really quite intrigued to see this, that Times of India, Hindustan Times, they have published reports. And let me see, because my inhibition for alternative therapy has gone in Calcutta. So I visited the clinic of this doctor to know more about the therapy she is offering. So this is Dr. S. Hena Fatima. We lost her last year to COVID. It's a very big loss for me. Actually, it was started by her father, late Dr. S.M. Atik, when he lost his mother due to oral cancer. So he wanted to do something. He has seen the painful death of his mother, and he wanted to do some sort of thing that it can be helpful. So he started actually researching on various Ayurvedic herbs that is already written in the text, nothing. So he kept on researching, means he also used to apply those herbs on those patients and see what happens. It was hit and see, when hit and go trial, you can say that we'll give this medicine. This is the list of plants that he experimented upon, and now we know this, all the plants are very active anti-cancerous property. So out of which he developed this Huma medicines, which are a combination of liquids, powders, then we have pills also. So this all things were not given to all the patients, who did not receive all the things, depending that how the patients are, because some may have diabetes, some may have kidney problems. So depending on those situations, they used to tailor the medicines. But these two medicines, which is in a small bottle, and this were given to all, and that are active cancer medicines. So this formulation, when there was some patient who got benefit, this formulation was tested in Central Drug Research Institute on rats to know about the toxicity, and it was found that it is not very toxic. And there were many patients like this, you can see in this screen, that who came with active cancers. They were radically cured. And mostly this medicines, what they have made, acted very well in rectal and oral cancer. The two ends of the alimentary canal was very important site. So basically, after all research, there were these 6 herbs that was selected, which is everybody have an idea, neem, tulsi, this haldi, amla, and this Stenospora cordifloria, and the marking nut. So these are the 6 things that were actually taken in a long run. They had a very strong anti-cancerous property, and when given to patients, they uh, reacted well. So some facts which I wanted to tell about this. This is a polyherbal preparation, and they do not contain any heavy metals. The medicines are in liquid and powder form. Medicines are orally administered and are titrated time to time depending on the condition of the patient. Along with the Huma therapy, which the name of the alternative therapy, they're also receiving the conventional life support care, because sometimes the patient required blood transfusion, so they have to be given. If they have some other uh, problem, treated with they will be treated with antibiotics. So such things kept on happening, but they did not receive any chemo or radiation. They were only on this alternative therapy. And because the medicines were individually dosed, so the side effects were less. And it was prepared by the Huma Cancer Society, which is now, after the death of Dr. Hina, has become defunct, because that she was everything for the society. And we have observed regression of cancer in many of the patients, some of which I'm going to share with you. So this is uh, one of the patients. Just to know, is everything going well over there? Just say hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. It's going on
Yeah.
properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So so the thing is that this is a patient who had developed oral cancer. This is verrucous carcinoma, which is not very treatable sort of thing. In this is a radio resistant cancer. So doctors generally don't prescribe any sort of therapy. And looking at the age, he was already 70. So he was not, he was a patient from Kanpur. So he reported to the clinic, and the notes were positive. So, there was no meaning of giving the therapy. So he started taking the homotherapy. And as you can see, after a month, we can see that there is a visible sign of regression. And with 6 months of therapy, the entire tumor that has been formed has now gone. And it was a biopsy proven, because it was a patient from the that Kanpur Cancer Institute. So the biopsy was a proven cancer. And after this, he was followed for next 6 years. I personally myself followed him as long as I was in Lucknow, to see whether any recurrence happened. It did not happen. And this was one case. Another case also from Lucknow, and as you can see that in his lips there was a growth, and this was cancerous. It was also Lucknow Cancer Institute. And when this patient cancer, as you can see, has regressed, then everybody told him that it cannot be cancer, because obviously no doctor have seen this kind of regression. So doctors also were confused. And he was doing well for the next 3 years. 3 years. And as you know, he's a chronic tobacco chewer, and on this thing gutka all the time. So the doctors told him that it cannot be cancer, otherwise you could not have been cured like this. So he again reverted back to those old habits when he was completely okay. Nice for us, because we knew it is cancer. So after 3 years, I think uh, from no 1 year after therapy, relapse or the disease, stoppage of therapy. Okay. So this was I think 1 year after the things that the patient developed this uh, again those tumors inside the mouth. And then we did an histo. The problem with us is that those patients which come to our clinic, the histopathology was done by some other institute, and they don't keep those histopathological slides with them. So when the patient is really getting benefit, if we request the slides, they simply say that we are not having the slides because we can't keep them. So that is the problem. So this when he had the relapse, we did the histopathology and showed that it was cancer. But unfortunately, after start of the therapy, again nothing happened, and he died. There is another such patient. You can see the, I'm sorry, many people would be disturbed to see this, but these patients, you have to show this, how painful this. And as you can know, they are coming from village. They don't have any idea what to do. So when the whole thing is out of their control, then only they report to the clinic. And you can see this kind of patient, we can't do anything. But this patient also responded. The thing about this medicine is that you can see the whole solid tumor, it has broken from the base. The earlier cases also, it has broken from the base. So this, I have no idea exactly what is happening, but this worked very well when there is a tumorous growth, and it is somehow from the base, the whole tumor is coming up. So this gentleman, you can see how nicely we brought him back. But unfortunately, maybe because some other problems, they come from very distant places. So it is very difficult for us to really track them. So we could have 1 year data on this patient, but he died. But see the response. The response is to be checked actually. See, this is another patient with a histological proven cancer, and with the therapy, he have completely regressed the cancer portion, that growth, and he was also surviving. The survival was 14 months recorded. This was another patient which had, and he's also from Kanpur. So when he reported to the clinic, he was in a pathetic state, as you can see at presentation, pain, growth, everything. And with the start of this alternative therapy, he responded very well. It is to my surprise how this is also a verrucous squamous cell carcinoma, and he was a very good responder. And after 8 months, the entire tumor disappeared. You can see it with your own eyes. It happened. I was looking after this patient very intensively. So when I reported this matter to our professors, they could not just believe that this could have happened. So they told that bring the patient to us. We will see all the medical records, and we want to see. So, okay, I told no problem. Let us go and check. So once they saw the patient, they could not believe their eyes that because they have already seen him earlier also. So what they wanted to do, they wanted again the same thing. They wanted to check whether it is cancer or not. I'm like, sir, please don't do. I don't like that you do any kind of needle pricking in that site, because that site is still not completely healed up. But they don't want to believe that this is cancer. They wanted to prove that this is not possible. And this gentleman has to undergo this, FNAC. And as predicted, that after FNAC, he got the whole place swelled, and ultimately again the cancer came back. So the histopathology, actually we can take the photograph. That was the most important thing. We got the slides. That is the most important factors that proved that this person had histopathological proven cancer. and it regressed with certain therapies. So I really feel very bad for this patient. If the FNHC was not done, I'm sure that he could have lived little more. Anyway, after from SGPGI, I got a faculty position in Sardar Bhagwan Singh Postgraduate Institute at that time, but now it has become a university. And there I started working on the herbal medicine HUMA and rat modules to check the toxicity level and other things. So the study indicated that no doubt HUMA is also having some mild to moderate toxicity in rats. And then I did the cell line study of that liquid medicine. Only the liquid portion of the medicine was used, and it was found that in the cell lines also they exhibited very high anti-cancerous property. So it was obviously proved. Then we went for an experimental design to study the chemo prevention, you can say anti-cancerous and chemo prevention. So chemo prevention, I just wanted to say that any agent which can stop or halt the progress of cancer, it can be a drug, it can be vitamin, it can be a natural substance. So if it interferes with the initiation process of the cancer, then you can keep the cancer in check. So that are the chemo preventive agents. So this is the design of study. We induced cancer in one group of animals, and we induced cancer with in another group. Along with it, it received HUMA. And then the whole thing was repeated for 4 weeks. And after that, those animals were observed for the next 3 months and see what had happened with them. So as predicted that the cancer-inducing chemicals, all the rats develop tumors all over the body. But to our surprise, rat received the tumor-inducing chemicals plus the HUMA. They all males, they did not develop any visible tumors except few in the lungs area. It was not protected. And in female, all the 6 female animals that were used, all the females, only in the lungs we had this tumor development, nowhere else in the body. Why this has happened, I have no answer. But the rats which received HUMA definitely had some protection level. So this is another part of the study that I've done. I told you about the Soranam therapy of Dr. Chatterjee. There I collected 25 such patients, records of 25 such patients who were not treated with any conventional drugs, but received only Soranam, and they radically this cancer regressed. Or in some, the cancer have not regressed completely, but the patient is surviving for over 5 years. So there are many such things. So I collected the case and I submitted the same, 25 from Soranam, 24 from HUMA therapy, and there was another Ayurvedic therapy which is given by Dr. Valindu Prakash of Dehradun. So I compiled all those cases and sent to the best case series presentation for it is done by the Cancer Complementary and also Alternate Medicine Office, which is in National Cancer Institute in USA. And they gone through it, all the patients, and they found the 2 patients of Soranam, 3 patients of HUMA, and 8 patients of Ayurveda therapy by Balindu was too good as a persuasive case. They wanted to the patient should be followed up. so that so how long they are surviving after the treatment process and all these things. But the greatest problem of other cases getting rejected was that we could not provide them the histopathology report, because the histopathology report was done by some private organizations, and they did not keep it. Obviously, you have to take it along with your samples and other things. So that was the main reasons, because we did not provide them the histopathological report. They could not take this case. So the summary of everything is published in those 2 papers. If anybody interested, you can go and check this papers published in Integrative Cancer Therapy, and there you will get all the reports. So this is the National Cancer Institute. When we were invited there to present our findings, and this is the posters. That this is Dr. Jeffrey White, who is the director, who has been taking active interest on our therapies, and he encouraged us a lot to do proper research work. So it was a great honor to present our findings over there. So now coming to the take-home message, actually, you all young people who are listening to me, there are certain herbal preparations such as Huma, Soranam, and this herbal therapy of that Ayurvedic therapy of Vaidyalindu. They are all having some patients who have responded very positively, and I personally believe that they are very good chemo prevention potential. But proper research has to be done. When I was doing all these things at that time, they were designed as a quackery. Now things have changed. Many good research articles have been published. I have published all my findings there in good journals to other scientists to take note about it. And the biggest problem is they don't have a proper clinical trial or that sort. People come, take those who are getting benefit, then we do a retrospective study on them. So I believe that there are many herbal drugs from India. They can do wonders in chemotherapy, and we have to do more aggressive research. You people can take up aggressive research and prove to the world that you don't need to prove to the world. Actually, you can help many Indian cancer patients with a herbal formulation which is safe and effective. Many research work, many properly designed research work has to be carried out. Then this claim that they work can be really worked out. So this is my what you say request for all of you who are listening. If you can take up research work on this. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to acknowledge all my postgraduate students, my ICMR fellowship. It was provided to me. Without it, I could not have done this work. My students also have contributed a huge. And if you want to know about me, who am I, all my presentation, you have to just go to my website. I have published all my papers. You can go and get it in my publication section. Who am I? What am I doing? Everything I have given in my website. So you have to just click sanjoypal.com. Thank you for your attention. And I also like to thank the organizer of this program to giving me a chance to interact with you people. It's a great honor, madam. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. Now, with your permission, may I take some questions, sir?
Yeah, definitely.
Sir, there is one question by Dr. Soumya Das. Ma'am want to ask, how can herbal drugs based therapy related side effects be managed?
Yeah, actually, that is what I was also telling, that if you are, there is two type of things. What happens is, now you will get a lot of published report that people who are taking chemotherapy are also taking herbal therapy and is not reporting to the oncologist. So it is a very big problem. Drug interaction may happen, and uh, they could lead to serious problems. So it is the work of the oncologist to take the patient in confidence and ask whether they are taking any herbal drugs. With herbal drugs, this chemotherapy and radiotherapy may not be very good. They may have reactions. So the thing, as I told you here also, when we are giving the herbal drugs, we have to titrate it. Suppose a person is reacting, we would immediately reduce the dose. Okay, so it may be possible that you may be allergic to certain kind of herbal products. So the best thing is to reduce the dose. But what happens is, most of the time, those cancer patients, they are always on 2, 3 types of medication. They will never tell. They will never utter a single word if they are taking something from here, something from there. That becomes the problem. In our case, the patients are so poor, were so poor that they could not afford anything else than the herbal medicine. So in that sense, we are lucky. But anybody who can afford some kind of herbal thing, they will be taking this and that leads to the problem. So it is, first thing is that you have to have a good confidence on over the patient. You have to explain that if you are taking, please let us know that what you are taking. We are not against it, one thing. But yes, if there is a reaction happening, you reduce the dose. And you can also change the entire medicine set. I have seen with the Dr. Chatterjee that some patient came and told, sir, I'm having this problem, that problem. He has changed the entire medicine, sort of thing. He given something else. So see, this is very difficult because this cannot be generalized for each patient. That is where the herbal medicine cannot be, coming in a packet. It has to be done with experience. So if you are having some reaction, you can reduce the dose or even change something to something else. But chemotherapy and this herbal thing, both together are dangerous. Hope I have answered the question. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think it is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it is all based on your experience, how you deal. Uh, you know, if somebody is reacting, you are to either reduce or change. That is nothing else we can do. But obviously, if chemotherapy is going, you must know that patient is not taking any other herbs along with this chemotherapy.
Sir, are there any food interaction with this herb during the process of chemotherapy?
See, once there could be anything, because there are so many people who are allergic to dust even. Okay, so our immune system and the genetic system are all different. We respond differently to the same drug. So you can't, when you are in a, see, looking cancer from a lab and looking cancer from a clinic is altogether different. All the scientists, I will say, if you go and sit with the doctors, you can understand how difficult it is to manage patients. They can have any kind of allergic reaction. So once this allergic reaction has happened, we have to use our logic to get rid. It may be possible that you have certain kind of herbs can be very much problematic for some patient. Some patient, there is no problem. So you have to use your wisdom, for treatment purpose. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Any other
Thank you, sir.
questions? Mm.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one more question, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, one question from Anuradha Singh, ma'am. Ma'am want to know, is there any treatment available there for blood cancer?
Yeah. This, this Balindu, what kind of, see, if you say blood cancer, now again it comes what type of blood cancer? There are so many blood cancer is a kind of a, you have to be very specific. There are uh, various type of blood cancers, so you cannot just say blood cancer, because if you're talking, you have to talk of a specific time. It is a white cell problem or something else, what type of, anyway. The idea is that Vaidya Balindu, he has done very good work on blood cancers. Please go to my website, or you can go to the website of Vaidya Balindu, and he was given a Padma Shri because he in AIMS, they conducted a trial, and out of 10, 8 patients got benefited with his therapy. So those were all untreatable patients, and he could treat them very nicely and followed them up. So obviously, yes, there are therapies available for blood cancer. You can visit my site, and you can know more about them.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one query by the Dr. Shweta Bavri, ma'am. Ma'am want to know, why do we only promote herbal medications as alternative or complementary medicine and not as mainstream medicine?
You have to understand that is two words: complementary medicine and alternative medicine. See, complementary medicine is to complement. Meditation comes under complementary medicine. Medication only eases your stress. So if you are taking chemotherapy at that point of time, if you are taking meditation or a music therapy, it is an alternative therapy. Sorry, it's a complementary therapy. Where as an alternative therapy, where we are putting active drugs like herbal drugs, it is an alternative to the conventional therapy. Conventional therapies are what? It is chemotherapy, radiotherapy, immunotherapy, surgery. So these four things, they come under convention. Four or more things are there where we are going to a clinic and taking it. But wherever you are taking an herbal sort of thing, where, as I told you, there is nothing defined. Nothing defined. If I'm telling you a patient is receiving one type of therapy, another patient is receiving another combination of therapy, because based on the patient, the therapy is tailor-made. So person is diabetic, obviously you cannot give medicine which are having a lot of sugar in it. So they remove that part. So likewise, every time a therapy has to be tailor-made according to the need. So that is why it has a big problem, that we cannot tell that, like, if you have a fever, take paracetamol. So paracetamol is common for all the patients. So that is not possible. And that is the reason why this has still remained in alternative therapy, where you have to go and learn it and change it according to the need. So many good alternative therapy are now getting recognized, and many patients are taking it confidently, because their data on their adverse effect is available. Their efficacy is now available. 20 years back, when I started this research work, everybody abused me, telling that my father was also a dermatologist. The biggest problem came in my own home. I have written why I wanted to take this complementary and alternative research. My paper is published in Current Science in 2002. You can go and read that paper. And when I told, in country like India, alternative medicine has a very big role to play. So my fight started with my teachers at that point of time. And when I was in the clinics, I could find that we can't offer anything for the stage 4 cancer. In such a big hospital like Sanjay Gandhi, people are coming with so much of hope, and we are turning them down. So I felt it bad, and I told, okay, we should do something. So I hope I actually came out, but now many other peoples have taken this. A country like India, we have a lot to do with this alternative system, and also with the complementary systems. We are not, giving any active therapy to the patients, so there is no problem of the oncologist. But as this alternative therapy is concerned, I received very, very nasty things of why, as a such a scientist of this thing. But because I have seen in my own home that this works, what is the harm? I'm also telling to you people why to believe. Go and do it yourself. You will find that they works. And if they are, and this is written in our ancient Ayurvedic text, nothing new. And many research has proven that all this have very potential, anti-cancerous property in them. So, I should switch to Tulsi tea. You can take Tulsi tea every day. In Tulsi, you can mix certain kind of herbs. What is the harm? If you are now, I have seen that neem datuns are being sold in USA for $10 for datuns. So in the morning, you can we may see it is very what you say village like to have datun in the morning, but they really give even I mean when this Ramdev came with those paste which is having so many herbs in it, which is good. At least if you have those little herbal thing in the morning, I hope that can be good in the long run. That I have seen with my own research. I have shared with you. You can go and check all my papers and other things, and you will find that there are many such patients. Collecting 50 patients with radically cured cancer is not a matter of joke. I've wasted all means. I have never taken any placements, faculty position. 12 years I did postdoc. Can you believe? Because I have to prove a point that herbal works. For that, means if I left SGPG, I couldn't have finished my work. So my point is that yes, you can do a lot of research, and if a herb is proven right, or the herbal therapy is doing good with less minimum side effects, it can come to mainstream. In every hospital now, there is a appointment of naturopath, which I think 30 years back nobody have heard about what is a naturopath. Now every hospital is having two naturopathic doctors. So in US, if you go to US, every cancer center have opened a integrative medicine center. And in this integrative medicine center, they are extensively using herbal drugs and Ayurvedic drugs. If you happen to go to US, there you will find it that they have adopted this therapy. What they want, whatever you are doing, do in front of us. We are not against it, but there could be some reactions which we will take care. So you have to understand that still now we are not having a very good, in spite of everything, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, the survival rate has not increased. For the last 50 years, you can go and check. It's the same. So we have not made any damn progress in this area. So that's why they told, okay, no problem. If you can take up alternative and complementary alternative therapy, do it in our campus. But unfortunately, the director of Tata Memorial Research go to USA to talk about herbal and alternative therapy. But in his own institute in Tata Memorial, he will not open one. Still now it will take time. They have palliative center, but not complementary alternative center. So this is the problem. We Indians, we are still in a hangover of the British Raj. It is our own system, and it is good. Please do some research. It is very much essential for Indian system, because think about the cost. They are very, very inexpensive. Very inexpensive, and the biggest thing is, if you have a cancer and we are not affording you a therapy, in this aspect you are getting a therapy. So if you have, if you're I have a oncologist doctor who was my mentor also. He called me once and told, Sanjay, my 80 years old father has gone cancer. And I'm not likely to take him to an oncologist for chemotherapy and radiotherapy. 80 years of grand old age. Now he came to know he's suffering from cancer. You do something. I'm like, sir, what are you telling? Well, I know if they give chemotherapy, he will die next day. So do whatever you like with the herbal therapy. So I gave him, he was okay for 6 months and he was so happy. So this is the thing, that if you're in old age, you are detected with cancer. Now everybody will be pressurizing, go for chemotherapy, radiotherapy. No, go for this sort of things, because 80 is a grand old age. And if you are taking chemotherapy, you are going to die. This is a logic. But if you tell this logic to the oncologist, they will bang you. So I have received many banging in my life, many times I was insulted badly about talking all these things. And obviously there is a what you say, the pharma companies are also there, but I'm telling you can research on these herbs. The active ingredients can be separated out and given to the patients in a concentrated form. What is the harm? I'm telling this. Let see, single molecule, single magic bullet is not going to work for cancer. There cannot be any magic bullet. The whole genome in a cancer get altered, and a single bullet cannot do anything. So that chemo, whatever we are talking about, this is not a right way approach to treat cancer. Maybe in another 50 years we will have no chemo radiation, which would be entirely on a immunotherapy or genome medicine will come. So why to disturb the patient where we cannot do anything with harmful chemicals? So that is my views, but obviously a lot of research has to be done, and there are so many students who are listening to me. Maybe, they will take up the things and move forward. But these are all indigenous herbs which are having tremendous medicinal value. That's why we all, in all our worshipping things or all puja, we are using all those herbs. You can go and check all the herbs that are used in our puja, during our puja, are very, very medicinal. The previous Rishi Munis who have found the medicinal property, they integrated in our religion so that we will not forget about them. Go and check, everything that we use in puja are very, very having medicinal property. So we have to find all the real medicinal benefits and give to patients. In India, the poor patients, they are very, very stressed with the therapy. You can offer them an alternative therapy. That is my wish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for enriching our knowledge with a very vast and elaborate lecture, informative lecture on chemopreventive potential of cancer, herbal preparations on oral cancer. And of course, these herbal preparations need standardization before putting into therapy. Sir, thanks a lot for taking out time from your valuable time. And sir, we will invite you again in our future programs also. Thank you so much.
It would be my
Of course, sir. Thank you.
It would be my pleasure. And you have conducted a very good webinar. I have been following, because here it is very early morning. So few of them I have seen. It was very good. Please keep on this activity. It was my pleasure to be a part of this. Thank you. All of your team who have done all the work, all of your team. Very thank you to all of them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye. Ma'am, hello.
Hi, sir.
Can you take a photograph of all the participants? That would be good.
Yes.
Tell everybody to come and take a photograph. that actually, I think so many participants are there. If they can come, you can take a photograph. That what we do here. When we finish, we call everybody to open their video and take a photograph. So it is nice that this kind of event, everybody would be happy to have a memory. I don't know whether it is possible, but if you can do it.
It has already done that, I think.
Acha, it is done. That is okay. Then it is okay.
All are allowed, I think.
Obviously, I think please announce so that people can put on their videos.
Yes. I have already allowed. Sir, you have to stop sharing. Sir, you have to stop sharing.
Sharing. Yes. Okay. I think I've stopped sharing.
Yes, yes. Now everybody is coming to the screen. The
Yeah.
participants,
If you can
please
do
keep
it, is good for you,
camera on so
because
that
this kind of activity
group photo.
requires.
Yeah, yeah. I can see all of you are coming to the screen.
Yeah.
This is so good to see you all.
Take a photograph of each and everybody.
Yes, yes. Please, you put your camera on, everyone.
And one more thing, the internet was good here, so there was no
Yes, sir.
interruption. It is actually sometimes it goes very wrong in this part of the world. We are not blessed with such high-speed internet like India. Sometimes there is a
We are
breakdown.
fortunate enough that throughout the program it went well. No
Yes,
disruption,
yes,
nothing.
yes, yes, yes. So it's nice because one also thank for COVID that we are able to interact, because this kind of things 1 year back also it is a dream, but
And sir, in
the development
offline
of
mode, it
this.
is not possible to accommodate so many participants
Yes, yes,
together.
yes.
So
Yeah, yeah. So that I know, that's why I told you, if anything goes wrong, you have to take care, because recently there was a this webinar and I was unable to move my slides. I don't know what had really happened. So I was really worried actually. These are sometimes problem happens. So nice, you keep on doing this kind of thing. Even you are inspired me. I will also try to take up something, but here we are very new because it's a new university that has come. So and people over here is not as like in India. We are still trying to push them forward. This part of the world, we are not blessed like India. If you come out of India, then you can understand what are we enjoying in India. Once you have to come out of India, then only you will love your country. As long as you are in India, we are not telling this ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. Come to Africa, then you can understand that we are went far ahead. Only thing that we are lacking is our research activities. That research activities have to be taught to our students. Actually, it is done by the PhD guide. The guide is the one. आजकल के तारीख में ऐसी guidance किसी को पसंद नहीं है. Everybody went to internet. That has made a problem. So everything is available in the net. Sir, आप क्या नया दे रहे हो? So that is the problem. But the naya यही है कि my professors have told that Sanjay, even if in your front a Nobel laureate is standing, don't think that you are any less than the Nobel laureate. You can't believe this single thing has made me alive, kept me alive in a Sanjay Gandhi PGI. All my teachers were doctors. I'm not a doctor. And every day we used to fight and every day I used to win. Just एक ही बात पे, that पैसा नहीं है बेचारे के पास. Money thing has to be put into the thing. उनके कहना था कि I don't care. Let them bring money from which source they want. My work is to treat the patient and I don't care. But this only thing pushed me when I got this Lancet publication. I had 2 Lancet publication. So this 2 Lancet publication was a great thing for me. Nobody after that used to come and fight with me. I mean, so what is this, sir? The person is so poor, he need treatment. Say something. No, we don't have anything. So anyway, after those things, people started to take me seriously. Whenever I has to have a debate or something, see, in India, we have to keep it in mind that I'm not against anything, but majority of the patients will not be able to take conventional therapy because of the cost. What can be done? ये आप लोग सोचो, as a pharmacist, do something. Okay then. Thank
okay,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
It was a great time with Dr. Paul, and we have learned a lot. And dear participants, we are now at the end of our this 5 days long journey. I hope all of you have enjoyed all these sessions, and after attending our this FDP, I believe now you are so much confident on cancer research, especially in cancer genomics. And as many of us from pharma field, so all of you might be so much happy, encouraged, and so much confident to do something very great in your research area, especially in therapeutics. So before conclusion of our this entire journey, our honorable director sir, our director general sir, and also director of NIT engineering institutions, also our director of project, and also our dean is actually with us. So all of them are actually happy to know your experience, dear participants. How was your journey? How was your 5 days experience? So after listening your experience, we shall go to them. So can anybody share your journey? I have made you the permission. Those of you who are so much active in last few days, Dr. Shilpi Chandra, Dr. Amrish Chandra, and Samita Kumari, if any of you can share your experience, how you have learned, we'll be happy to listen.
Thank you very much for allowing us to share our experience. Am I audible, I believe?
Yes, we can hear you.
Amrish, yeah.
So when we think of cancer, so cancer has always been a very big issue in the society. The kind of prevalence it has, and the kind of death rate and everything. The lot of stigma attached to it, and the pain not only for the person but for the entire family. It's a painful experience. But as a biotechnology person, when we see about cancer, so we see that there is DNA, there are biomarkers, which have then they convert into RNA and proteins, and then metabolics and everything gets affected. So in this particular 5-day seminar, we learned about everything, right from DNA, how the base pairs interact, how are the mutations done, the RNA, proteins, the metabolics, everything we learned about it. And finally, when it comes to cancer and all, we also came to know about oncomedicines and a lot of herbal interventions which can take part and help in cancer treatment. And then we also got to see a computational view of everything about how bioinformatics and computational people can understand or help the scientists in understanding the various interventions that can work, the mechanism and everything. And so overall, if I talk about it, it was a very holistic program built together in a very knitted, in a very comprehensive, in a very nice manner. And overall, we got a touch of personal branding and personal impact also, how to be a good researcher, how to be able to present your research in a better way and all those things. So overall, I would say that it was a very nice team, and congratulations to the whole team and everyone for giving such a nice thing to all the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amrish.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words.